Coming from the farthest reaches of the universe to challenge the worst toy repairs on Earth is the most powerful hero ever, toy-polloi.
Hello and welcome to another video from toy-polloi, and in today's video we're going to be looking at repairing a very commonly broken part of a vintage Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle, and that is Michelangelo's nunchucks. The weapons that come with these vintage Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles are made out of a brown plastic, and over the years that is getting incredibly brittle, and the nunchucks that come with Michelangelo have a very thin piece of that plastic and it just snaps all the time and you end up with them looking like this. So today we're going to see what we can do about fixing that. So here are the nunchucks in question, and as you can see these are broken. This thin piece of plastic in the middle is supposed to join these two handles together, and you can sort of bend it a little bit, but as I say, this plastic gets very brittle over the years and it just tends to snap. And on these it has snapped at the weakest point, which is just above the handle. You can see I have both of his nunchucks and they have both broken in exactly the same way. So we need to replace this piece of plastic with something, and I've been having to think about what I could do. There's a few sort of options we can go down. One would be to use a piece of styrene rod. So this is a 2mm thick piece of styrene rod, and you can sort of bend and shape this, and what we'd have to do is drill a hole, insert that in and then paint it, and that would work pretty well. Or we could use some rubber tubing. This is jewellery tubing. You can get this in multiple colours. I just happen to have it in black, but we could again drill a hole and insert some of that and then paint it, or you can buy brown versions of it, so maybe get some brown of that. But actually I thought a better way to do this would be to use some nylon thread, because then you can actually sort of start to pose these. There'd be nothing to break and it would be easy to sort of swing them around and actually use them like weapons. So I've been onto eBay and I've bought some nylon thread, and this is what has arrived. As you can see, it's a pretty close colour match. It's a brown nylon thread, and this is called waxed nylon cord. Again, it's used for beading and jewellery making. I bought 2 meters of it because that seemed to be the smallest amount I could buy, but it feels exactly like the sort of thing that's going to work. In fact, if I pull out a thin piece of this just from the pack, you can see it's got a little bit of sort of stiffness to it, so you can pose it. That's because it is a waxed cord, but I reckon inserting some of that into these will make them look really good. And as I say, you can actually then play with them as well, and they will be sort of working nunchucks. So let's get modifying these handles and insert some of this new waxed nylon cord.
Toy-polloi, that is incorrect. Try again.
So the first thing we need to do is to prep the handles. As you can see, they've broken off at sort of different distances and they're a little bit sort of awkward. So we need to trim those ends down. For that, I'm going to use a pair of plastic nippers and just cut off the remnants of the old piece of plastic. And I'll cut it off as flush as I possibly can to the top of these handles, like so. Then we've got the longer bits here. Again, we're just going to cut those off. And then the final one. Now we need to drill holes into these so that we can then insert some of the new cord, and to do that I have a pin vise, and I've chosen a 1.5mm diameter drill bit. I think that should be about right. The cord that I've bought is supposed to be 1.5mm in diameter, so we want a hole that's just about the same size so that we can insert it in and then maybe put a bit of glue in just to hold it in place. So I think this should do. So I'm going to get drilling with this drill bit, and we'll drill 4 holes in, and I'm going to drill them in as far as I can go really, so maybe about 8 to 10mm. So there's a nice deep hole that we can put the cord in and then glue it as well. So yeah, let's get drilling and see what happens. The holes are actually drilled in really easily. You can see there's a hole there now, which is at 1.5mm in diameter. I've cut off some of the cord, so this is at 5cm in length. The original piece of plastic here is about 4cm long, so I thought 5cm will give me enough to insert in either end. And now that's the tricky part, is we're going to insert it and glue it in place. And I'm trying to work out the best way to do this. And I think the best way is possibly just to get some super glue, put it on a bit of paper, and then dip the end of the cord in the super glue and then push it into the hole gently. We may need to put a bit more glue into the hole at the end, so I've got my pin tool here to help me do that. So let's just give this a try. I'm going to get some super glue. I've got a little bit of scrap paper here that I can just drop the super glue onto, and we'll see what happens. You never know with these things, but it's sort of trial and error. So I'm going to put a bit of glue all around the end of that, and I'm going to hope that I can push this in. No, not particularly easily. Okay, we'll try again. That's why I've got lots of this cord, because then we can do a few sort of trials and see what happens. I'm going to try and shape that to more of a point, then get the glue on it. Let's try that again. Oh yeah, that's good. That has gone in nicely. Now I'm going to use my pin tool, so I'm going to grab some glue on the end of this, just so there's a blob on the end, and I can drop that in the end just with a bit of capillary action. That's gone in. We'll let that set. I'm going to cut another piece of this cord and we can do another one. Once this is set, we'll do the other end of it. So a little bit of trial and error, but you can see that's going to work pretty well. Those have now had time to dry, and I'm really pleased with how they've turned out, because you can actually use these. You can see you can actually swing them around. So it's not exactly the same as the originals, but I was never hoping to sort of do that. What I wanted was something that just worked, and something that I could actually display with the figure, and I think this cord has worked really nicely. If you want to get the cord for yourself, then just head on to eBay. I just looked up nylon waxed cord, and this is what came up. It comes in multiple colours, and this is 1.5mm in diameter. I think it works really well. So let's put this on the figure and see how he looks. So we can push these back into his hands, like so. Yeah, that's already looking a whole lot better. Yeah, I think those are looking fantastic. So there we go, those are the nunchucks now repaired and ready for action, and I think they do look really good on the figure. They look great when he's holding them like this, but they also work really well if you put them into the holsters on the back of his belt. Either way, they are working as they should. Again, I know some people would want to restore these as original as possible, but I actually think the cord works a lot better, because it just makes it a much more playable figure, and it's really simple to do. All you need to do is get some of this cord, which is very cheap and easily available on eBay, drill a few holes, a little bit of glue, and you've got your Michelangelo back up and running. I need to say a massive thank you to Sean, who very kindly sent this figure in with the broken weapons. It's been a really fun project, so big thanks to Sean. If you've enjoyed this video, then make sure to hit the subscribe button and tap the bell to be notified each time I upload a new video. And if you've really enjoyed it, then why not think about supporting the channel by becoming a Patreon or YouTube channel member. You get early access to all my restoration videos, and also access to an exclusive series called On the Cutting Mat. So have a think about that, and thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching Toy-Polloi. Subscribe for more great videos.